Good day, viewers. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the news today. Please feel free to share what you think and feel. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Why are they not going to private hospitals? Why are they not going to private hospitals and stop those rich people? Oh, Swaziland people who are rich, they are not foreigners. Nigerian people who are rich, they are not foreigners. It's only Zimbabweans who are foreigners. The only foreigner we know, it's only Zimbabwe. We ask them, is Lesotho not a foreign? It's Botswana not a foreign? It's Chinese not a foreign? It's a white man not a foreign? Why are you choosing people who are hopeless? They said that they are stealing their jobs. It means here, they are stealing the black people of Atlantic a space to come and get in when they are sick, because we are sick. It means they are doctors now. They want to supervise, they are interfering with the process of immigration. They are interfering with the process of the South African Police Service. They are untouchable. They are John Wickies of Atlantic. Nobody can do them anything. Police are watching, eating KFC inside our own cars. Watching, reporting that the situation is normal. There is nothing normal when our people are denied access to health. There is nothing normal when our people are being asked 30 silly questions. If we need to die for this, let us die or lose votes.
Today, you are fighting with Zimbabweans. You are all fighting to be Negroes. You are fighting to work for a white man. You are not fighting for the land. All of you joined forces together against Zimbabweans. What's wrong? No, they are taking our jobs. Why? Because you want to be workers. You don't want to be the owners of strategic sectors of the economy. All you are fighting for is jobs. Who's going to give you these jobs? It's a white man. You are all now fighting to work for a white man. And you are proud to fight to work for a white man. Why should you fight people for jobs? We should fight people for the land. And that we want our land, because with our land, we will not be workers. We will be the owners of the land, and we will produce for ourselves and for all. We're not fighting for the mines. We're not fighting. We never said, hey, Zimbabweans are all over here. They are owning the banks. We South Africans don't own the banks. No one is saying that. Oh, Dudula, what's wrong? They are taking our jobs. And you think you have made a very powerful political statement by saying they are taking jobs. Okay, jobs. Who owns the jobs? It's a white man. You are fighting to work for us. In the EFF, we are not fighting to work for us. That job is a transition towards the ownership of the strategic means of our economy. We do not want to work for the white man. If anything, the white man must work for us, because we are the rightful owners of the land. We must dream big. Any of you here who says that the Zimbabweans are taking jobs from you, you are a small dreamer, and we have no time for small dreamers. We are the big dreamers, and the big dreamers dreams about owning the land, the natural and mineral resources of South Africa and the whole African continent. Because there will never be economic freedom selectively to South Africa alone. That's why Mugabe failed on the land question. Because when he took the land, they ran to South Africa. When they arrived here, we should have also taken the land. When they run to Mozambique, they take the land. Anywhere they go, they must find Africans standing together and saying, no white man is going to own the land here unless under our terms. There can never be an isolated socialism, exclusive for a particular country. Even China alone and Cuba, they will not succeed in Venezuela if the world over doesn't come together to collapse this big animal called capitalism. It's so huge, so much that it needs the world to come together to defeat this animal called capitalism. So, you will not do that in society because you don't debate politics and you can't defend the position of the EFF when it comes to foreigners because you don't understand. You have never given yourself time to discuss it amongst yourself. When we were putting the Zulu king, there were Zulus from Zambia. There were Zulus from Zimbabwe. There were Zulus from many other African countries who came to KZN to honor the coronation of the king. Now, all these xenophobic people didn't know that there are actually Zulus in Zambia who left here to Zambia. So, when you look at that in totality, you actually come to realize that we are actually one thing. We are one people. Why are the white people not complaining about Zimbabweans and then instigating us against Zimbabweans? It's because blacks must forever fight amongst themselves. The unity of black people is a threat to white men. That's why I was happy to see the EFF giving message of support in a conference of the PAC. And I was like, this is what we need. That black people who represent Pan-Africanism and progressive left must always embrace each other's existence. And the left of South Africa must come together against these right-wingers who are ruling our country. Without the unity of the left, we will never defeat our enemy, which is white monopoly capital that controls everything that we are using. There is no one here today who didn't wake up and not use a product of Johan Rupert. All of us here, whether you used a toothpaste or a soap or anything, roll on, lotion, Rupert, he owns all of that. How do we have one family owning all the shelves in South Africa? I was very happy with the fighters there in Gauteng when Operation Dudula went to stop people from entering the hospitals. They arrived there and defended our people against Operation Dudula, that no one is going to stop a patient, whether Zimbabwean or Nigerian, we don't care. This person is sick and must be helped and is sick in our country and is not going to die in our country. Our country saves lives, does not kill people. How dare do you allow in Limpopo, Poppy, to go to a sick bed, to a dead bed, and tell a patient the nonsense she was telling a patient. And you still have her going into public places unchallenged by the EFF. Such an MEC who doesn't even see anything wrong with talking to a person who's on a dead bed. The nonsense she was talking. She has taken an oath that they will never take politics to beds, to the sick beds. That's why their office is there. Those patients must be given hope. She's waiting on a bed for a surgery. She says, Poppy says to her, you are wasting my resources here. You are going to be helped here with my resources. A sick woman on a bed being insulted by another woman. The Zimbabwean woman who's sick on a dead bed, she says, I'm grateful. Don't tell me you are grateful. Don't tell me. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You say that to a sick person who's humble. And then she calls herself a doctor. She calls herself a leader who says to the most humble person, a person who can.
Well, we've been hearing that, and I just want to make it very clear to anyone who is threatening any form of unrest, they will be followed up and they will be arrested. Those are people who belong in jail. Those are people who are the enemies of our democracy. The people of South Africa value this hard-won democracy, and they don't want any form of instability. And we've always followed the rule of law. When you are dissatisfied with any decision, be it a government decision, the president's decision, a minister's decision, even a court's decision, there are ways in which all those complaints can be followed up. So for anyone to say that if this does not happen, they are going to have instability, it's against the will of the people of South Africa. And I can promise you, those people will be followed up, we will arrest them. And they do not belong as part of the South African community that wants stability. That is going to happen.
Yeah,
when you talk about Africa,
I
you're
need
African.
immigration here for one
Call them. Call them. Call them. Call them. I will call my lawyer also, they'll come here.
Yeah, they don't understand.
I will also call my lawyer, they'll come here. How? Call immigration. Call everyone.
Everything was for free in this country.
How? You destroy the country. Can't you tell the country is going down because of this shit that you guys are doing?
Thank you.
How? How?
Africans from the rest of the continent move into this country. The issue of many other Africans being present with us is not new. And historically, the indigenous African community has never ever been hostile to other Africans coming from other African countries. Take the old townships, Alexander Township in Johannesburg. That township has always had people from all over the continent. With no friction, with no nothing. Historically, the African community here has never been xenophobic about other Africans. In 2008, all manner of trouble breaks out in Alexander Township in Johannesburg. Attack on these foreigners, particularly Zimbabweans. Then it spread elsewhere. Xenophobia, Afrophobia. So I say, when I saw that thing, I was in government, I was president. I say, but this is it's not Alexander Township. Alex for decades has had Zimbabweans and Mozambicans and this and that, and never ever this conflict. Why? There's a mistake we made as government, and not to disclassify an intelligence document about what happened in Alexander 2008. That thing was organized to drive the Zimbabweans out of the country back to Zimbabwe because there were elections in Zimbabwe. It was people who were being driven out, they were going to vote against Bob Mugabe then. An intelligence report which has got the names and the dates and venues where people met and planned this and so on. It's presented as a xenophobic attack by the people of Alex against it. It was wrong. It was organized, systematic for a political purpose. We've got many, many challenges of the economy here. Unemployment, very serious problem. Economy is in crisis. I'm a former president of this country. And you'll never ever convince me that this economy is in crisis because of foreigners. It's not true. It's not true. It's because there's certain things that have happened with regard to the economy, which have produced economy. In lots of Africans from the rest of
She thinks the word everyone in the Constitution is exclusively referring to South African citizens and nobody else. It has come to my attention that a lot of people do not know how to interpret the Constitution. So I'm here to help. If you read the Bill of Rights, you'll notice something quite obvious. When the Constitution is talking about South Africans specifically, it says every citizen. Look at Section 19, Section 20, Section 21, and Section 22. Now ask yourself, why did the drafters of the Constitution feel the need to emphasize that these rights belong to every citizen, while the rest of the rights in the Bill of Rights belong to everyone? Are you saying the Constitutional Assembly didn't know how to use words properly? Who is everyone in the South African Constitution? The Constitutional Court has already answered this question in Khosa versus Minister of Social Development. Judge Mogoro said that the word everyone in Section 27 of the Constitution does not apply to citizens only. Now, I have a question for Zandile Dabula and Jacinta Ngobisi. How does it feel to be wrong? I spent many years studying law, and the only piece of legislation you have ever read in your life is the Immigration Act. Yet you think you know the Constitution better than me. You claim that I just want to sound woke for social media. Do you even have any case law to back up your arguments? This proves that the supporters of your movement are just ignorant, and you are capitalizing off of their ignorance.
Klananda clinic siseklananda njengamanje sihlushwa izayizayi intombazane yala eSouth Africa. It is lesbian or isitabana siyazi yini ilwela iforeign national ukuthi lizongena lana li undocumented. Sibakhiphile manje bahambile na intombazane yakho ni busy yasishuta na uzolwela umuntu onganaphepha akamazi negama lakhe na akamazi negama lakhe na akamazi akazi uthi icherry yakhe mbukeni na uthi intombi yakhe simkhiphile she claims she's a South African. I don't know who's the husband between these two.
Documents. You don't even check documents. You're
disgusting. You see,
you are disgusting.
Yeah, she's nonsense. She's a nonsense South African woman. She wants to marry a Kikamba. Why can't she marry the Kikamba where she comes from?
South Africans do.
There is she. She's out now. She's complaining outside.
So now that I'm no longer Likwerekwere, I am now a foreigner. Yeah? And now imagine I'm a foreigner from Lesotho. I did not know. You guys don't tell us stuff. I did not know. Someone who's from Lesotho, when they come to South Africa, came a foreigner. Guys, we live with Lesotho people day in, day out. Moto Lesotho foreigner biang. I'm no longer Likwerekwere, now I'm a foreigner. I wonder now what's coming next. I wonder what's my next title. And I honestly feel like this person, which is whatever, is part of some of the South Africans, and I'm not saying all of them, because like I said, guys, there are good people and bad people, and we all don't believe in the same things. We are all not like-minded. We all believe in certain things and whatever. But I believe that she is part of certain South Africans who believe, if you do not hate foreigners, you are not South African. Now your identity has to be questioned, because why don't you hate them? Why must I hate them? What did they do to me? Not personally. What did they do to me? Nah. Why am I supposed to now hate someone to prove a point that I am South African? I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. I was not taught to hate people or a group of people or a nation of people without reason, just because it has to be tied to, or in order for me to be South African, I must hate them. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. And let's agree, yes, there are good Africans and then there are bad Africans who come to South Africa. There are people who come to South Africa out of just their innocence, and then they apply for citizenship, they get their citizenship, and then they live and they reside in South Africa, and then they have families and whatever. Nothing is said about that. And then there is illegal immigrants, apply, have any documents and whatever. Yes, but wrong. If someone comes and they live peacefully, I have no reason to hate that person. The only reason I would have to hate or not like or be against someone being in South African borders is those who steal, who kill, and those who destroy. Those who come to South Africa and then they oppress our fellow South Africans and whatever. That nonsense is what I don't stand for. Now you can't expect to judge these are the good South Africans because of the sins of a bad one. The bad potatoes must leave and go back. The bad potatoes must go back. The good ones can stay. It's fine. Because now you can't, like, xenophobia, guys. Now it doesn't make sense. We are living properly with people, foreign nationals here in South. You wouldn't wake up when I just tomorrow morning go knock, go mang and say I'm looking for a foreigner, mang, and then tell them, listen, Kirusama police. You would not. Alone, you would not do that. That's why we talk about Operation Dudula. And also Dudula. Let's talk about Dudula for a minute. Why is Dudula not Dudularing Orania? The old apartheid flag, or the old South African flag, that orange and blue and white one, that thing is the flag of Orania. Orania is literally a country within South A. Dudula is not Dudularing. Dudula is more focused on black crime. Dudula is focused on Afrophobia. Mara Orania, the population is increasing. Right now, the population of Orania, guys, as of 2023, was 2,700. 2,700 white people living in Orania by themselves. Got the old apartheid flag. Dudula, hai Duduli. Dudula ga Duduli. You guys are more Afrophobic than anything else. The bickering. We spoke about Afrophobia. The bickering amongst ourselves is not going to help us. We have bigger problems like Orania, guys. Whole population of Orania. In 2023, there was 2,700 people residing there, and a sense increase. Marhali Duduli. Neatula. And this is now my opinion. I honestly feel the only reason that black people or certain black South Africans or certain black people oppress other black people is that it's easier for them to oppress a black person. Because why? Black people have been oppressed before. So therefore you just jump into the training, you continue with oppression. It's easier to oppress a black person than it is to oppress a white person, because where do you start with a white person? Oppressor. It's easier to call a black person names than it is to call a white person names. It's easier to do the nonsense stuff to a black person than it is to a white person. And it's a what that has to be broken. Why are we doing this black on black crime on our brothers and our sisters? And also my question still stands. If you guys are calling other black Africans within Africa foreigners because they jumped the line, you call them a foreigner. What about the day all those African Americans in America, the day all the black Americans decide, you know what, I'm not taking this nonsense anymore. They book a plane. Airport, they have 54 countries and they have to choose from one. Out of the 54, which one am I taking? And Uganda. You're trying to tell me that the people in Uganda, when they see this African American, they're gonna say you are a foreigner. You must go back to your country. Oh, guys, if that logic doesn't apply when it comes to the African American, it cannot apply with other Africans within Africa. African cannot be a foreigner on African soil. Orania is a country in South Africa. The country in South Africa, how are they even funding that country? I don't even know. Mari, apparently it's from their own pockets. I guess they're funding it from their own pockets. Mariano, they wake up in the morning, mutapara mekoloi, achoko Orania, atleka South Africa, abereke. At the end of the month, utata leo malaga isebenzile in South Africa enza, ayiqoqe yonke salary ahambe ngayo Orania. Bayo akhe isikolo inyanga ezayo futhi uyabuya uzosebenza thatha imali yonke yabuya ahambe ngayo Orania. The same concept is happening. This is the same thing that's happening with these people that you guys are labeling as foreigners. They come here, they work, they go home. Laba bolaya mara Orania bas John wa tsuga wa ko meroko, he oppresses a black person, treats a black person like shit, pays you peanuts, and then he takes all the money at the end of the month. He goes back to Orania and then he builds a school. And dumb enough is that they are basing all of this thing or the whole vision behind Orania as Christian values. Christian values go Orania. They stand on Christian values and they are being very firm about it. Therefore, why Orania wara Christianity and wara. Guys, Dudula should be going to Dudula the right things. Dudula should go to Dudula the right things and fight for the people of Africa and the people of South Africa. Now I'm Pan-African and that's that. I don't pick sides when it comes to black people. I'm sorry, I side with the black people. I'm with them. Now one more thing. Don't you guys find it strange how there are so many laws and acts and what dedicated to how a black person is supposed to live? Isn't it strange? I want a white immigration act. Like, or do the lions get fined when it comes to, like, you know, these people? Like, does it not define lions or no? It's an exception. There's so many laws, there's so many acts, there's so many legislations and whatever dedicated to how a black person is supposed to exist within Africa or anyway. It's very strange. And as the new people or as the people of today, banaba today. As the youth of today, nifuna ukutshela ukuthi guys, sure. Asikwazi ukudabula la maphepha lana. Tell these people laba basa America nobo Trump ukuthi you know what mfethu, we don't mess with you anymore. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. Even if Trump says, hey, I'm going to take the what, hozoyithatha. Asambe yolanda. Waze ngikuphathise. Ngiyokuphathisa lo mine wakho nenzimbi zakho asambe. So I can't wait from scratch. Because we've had mines existing in Africa for the longest of years. We can have mines owned and governed by black people, normally fella. Why do we always have to have our hands tied to something? And I just find this whole laws thing to be quite strange. It's just a thought anyway, my thought.
Good evening, South Africa. This is Babalwa, and I'm the CEO of Truth and Solidarity Movement. I just want to address the leadership of Dudula. I think what you have done this time is a criminal offense. Someone lost their life in an unborn baby, and you are way out of line. That was a criminal offense, and I believe immigration officers and home affairs can do what you guys are doing, and they've done it before without any life lost. What you did is very unconstitutional. South Africa is a country that is governed by the Constitution, and it applies to all who live in it. And Section 11 of our Constitution says everybody has a right to life. And you, as Operation Dudula, have taken one. And you deserve to be detained. As Truth and Solidarity movement, we demand your arrest, Zandile. You should be arrested because someone died in the name of Operation Dudula. A mother and an unborn baby. Those are 2 lives gone in the name of Operation Dudula. We condemn Operation Dudula in this country. I believe there are laws that govern the country, especially immigration in this country. And my other thing is this: we will not bow down to people that are used by white supremacy, especially Israeli people, against Black Africans. I am not for xenophobia. We are not a xenophobic organization. We are for all Africans to unite and arise to save Africa. We're not condoning unregistered citizens, but what we are saying is we condemn your actions and you need to be brought to book. We are saying justice for the unborn child, unborn baby, and the mother. What you did was a criminal act, Operation Dudula, and we will not allow you to continue. We refuse Operation Dudula in this country now. As Truth and Solidarity Movement, we are saying justice for the unborn baby and the mother who died because of Operation Dudula, and we demand your arrest, Zandile, with immediate effect. What you did was criminal, unconstitutional, and a shame to women. You misrepresented women and the unity amongst women. Amandla.
Let's watch this video. Some few minutes. Let's watch this video.
Operation Dudula is apartheid rebranded. The same hatred, just packaged differently. History is now repeating itself, and instead of dividing race, they are now dividing black people, and this is done purposely. Politicians, capitalists, and the wealthy strive on xenophobia, and they want black people divided because they don't want to be held accountable for the failures that they have. The exact same way the apartheid government blamed black people for their failures. Under the apartheid government, they thrived on dividing black people. This was a system built on purpose, or they have failed to fix. It's exactly what apartheid South Africa did. They blamed black people for the failures. They told people, you are struggling, you don't have jobs, and etc. because of black South Africans. It's exactly history repeating itself, where political parties don't want to be held accountable, and they are saying it's because of foreign nationals. This is not about jobs. This is not about crime. It's a distraction tactic. It's a division tactic. Because they don't want us as South Africans to focus on the real systemic failures our government has given us. The lack of jobs we have is not foreigners' fault. GBV and all of that is not foreigners' fault. It is the lack of resources the government is giving us, the lack of accountability they are taking, and the lack of resource they're putting into policing. That is the real problem. You must also remember, people are very scared of united black people because they know how much power that they have. Apartheid taught the world how to divide and conquer. Now it's not being done by race, it's being done by borders, the same borders that colonialism put there, the same borders that white people put there. We cannot call ourselves free if we keep dehumanizing people, and this time because of where they come from. Black people, we need to unite. We need to break the system of hate. Rather turn your anger to the people in power that is failing us on a daily basis. Human rights must always win, not hate. Let's stop the cycle of hate.
Somewhere, somehow, I do understand ukhala kwama South Africans when it comes to illegal foreigners. I can say I'm a Pan-Africanist. I can say that I believe to the unity of Africans. I really support the economic freedom fighters. But and I will say this, you as an African, you also have a responsibility to protect the poor people in South Africa. You guys cannot always use your struggle to justify the injustice that is being done to South Africans. And you are benefiting from that. And you are not calling it out. You are being hypocritical. It's not fair that majority of South Africans are not working. But every time I work KFC, I find people who are not from my area, who are not even from my country working while I'm not working. How is that fair? And when South Africans are calling that out, you are so quick to call them xenophobic. That's not fair, man. That is not fair. I do not support Operation Dudula because somewhere the way they are going about it is not right. But I'm standing with South Africans when they say the way we are being treated is not right in our own country. We are not working, but people who are not even from this country are working in our country. That is not fair. And I've seen a lot of privileged blacks sitting here and speaking. A reason why Africans will never unite. Unite to the expense of who? To the expense of who? South Africans. These privileged South Africans, you guys don't have to go and look for jobs because your parents have built houses. They have made life for you. There are South Africans who don't have nothing. And it's not fair. My factories, they find people who are not from, they cannot even from the area working while they are not working. It's not fair. And every time you are so quick to call them xenophobic. That's not being xenophobic. That is not being xenophobic. And it's very hypocritical that you guys, you are for the, you guys, you are not calling that out. Instead, you are participating in that. It cannot be even me here in Mlazi. If there can be a firm that is open, and then they start hiring abantu bakwaMasha ukuthi bazosebenza eMlazi, there will be conflict between those people. Ukuthi kuthathwa kanjani abantu bakwenye indawo bazosetshenziswa? Well, abantu baseMlazi bekhona and they have the skills to do the same job. Imagine if Zimbabwe opens a mine and start hiring people from South Africans but not Zimbabweans. How is that fair? That's not being tribalist. That's not being xenophobic. It's the unfairness that is being done to the poor. That is the problem. We can speak unity, but you are but no. How many countries in Africa who are speaking unity, who are taking actions? No one. But you expect South Africans to say unity while they are being held by being choked to death. And they cannot even speak and say, but it's not fair, we're not working. Why are you hiring people from other world? We're not, people are xenophobic. We are xenophobic. It's not fair what is being done to South Africans. It's not fair. And I will say this, it is not fair. And I'm not 100% blaming the foreigners. But you guys also have a responsibility to speak and point out these things. Because if you guys are participating in this, you have a part to play, and it is your responsibility to call it out. But the painful thing is, you guys are allowing the enemy to use you, and when you allow the enemy to use you, you also become the enemy to the people. That's all I'm going to say. I do not support Dudula because the way they are doing, if the government of South Africa should take certain steps to make sure that we take the most vulnerable Africans, give them permit to be able to work and give them opportunity. But it cannot be that we should accept even criminal, the crime is high. And when we say that, people are being called xenophobic. A lot of rape are happening in South Africa. A lot of rape have never been solved. Why? Because kuna bantu who are not documented and who are doing heinous crimes in this country. And we're not calling them out. People say we are being xenophobic. We're not being xenophobic. That's not being xenophobic, guys. And I know the government is one to blame, but the Africans also need to take responsibility. We have a responsibility to also protect South Africans because South Africans are also Africans. Speaking up for South Africans and not being xenophobic. We also have a responsibility to protect South Africans, to protect black life. You cannot come there from Somalia and sell rotten food to South Africans, and ingane zethu zife, and we should shut up and masikhuluma kuthiwa we're being xenophobic. That's not fair, man.
Sanbanani, I don't understand why this lady is saying that apartheid and Dudula are the same people. Like, I don't understand. She's saying same hatred. She does not understand that South Africans are fighting for South Africa. They do not fight any person that is in South Africa legally and has the papers. So I think because it seems like Lily, I think it's Lindy her name. She's not from South Africa. She is from South Africa, but she's currently in Canada or something outside South Africa. Hence, she is in supportive of people who are in South Africa illegally. But the thing that she doesn't understand is that South Africans are not against illegals who are here without, foreigners who are in South Africa with papers. South Africans, they actually welcomed people who are in South Africa without any papers. But she's just speaking in a sense that she's always with black people against white. But in this instance, I think she missed the fact that South Africans who are on Dudula, Operation Dudula, they are fighting for what is wrong. What is these people having floating our clinics, these people floating every sector that is meant for South Africans, and these people are not people who are in South Africa legally, you understand? So we had lectures, or we have teachers who are in South Africa. If they were legally, I don't think South Africans would have a problem with that, you understand? So the influx of people who are in South Africa without papers, those people, they are committing crimes because they are not known, they are not on our systems, they are not even paying tax. So in this instance, I'm saying that Lindy she just missed the point that Operation.
I met Operation Dudula yesterday. We met for about 3 hours. I took them through this whole process of immigration, and I told them they might be solving what looks like a legitimate problem, but using wrong means, because in health, we treat everybody who enters there who is sick, and they can't expect us to chase people away when they are sick. Whatever the circumstances of their nationality is just not allowed in healthcare anyway, and they must not confuse issues. There is this belief that healthcare is free in South Africa but not in any other country in the world. And I want to correct that. Healthcare is free for children under 6 and young women. That was declared by our founding president, Nelson Mandela, in 1995, I think. Yes, so we only offer free health care for pregnant women and children under 6 of whatever nationality. The other people are not offered free health care. They are charged, but the problem is if you come to hospital without money and there's an emergency, there is no way you won't be treated, because then the Department of Health will be sued. It will be litigated in a way unimaginable. They then proposed to me that because doctors and nurses have signed an oath, have taken an oath of office, and they are forced by the oath to treat everybody. The clerks in the hospital did not take an oath of office. We must instruct them not to give anybody a fine if such a person does not have documentation. This was my response to them. First, yes, I responded to them in 2 ways. Number one, and I want the country to know that in South Africa, we are at 89% documentation, which means 11% of South Africans are not documented. If you look at our population, 11% will be about 6 million people. They don't have any form of document, but they are not illegal because they are in their country. They are South Africans, but they've got no document, nothing whatsoever. They don't appear in any database. And I think the prime example you may remember is our Bester. And we found that most of his relatives were not registered. So I said, if you do it the way you are doing it, you are going to turn away many South Africans who are legitimately South Africans but do not have any documents.
Africans, want to bet baboshiwe Zimbabwe. Angithi baboshiwe abantu bethu eZimbabwe. Khona yini eyenzekalayo? Thina fanele sinikeze amaphilisi wethu, sinikeze imithi yenu. Abayithi abantu bahleli kabuhlungu basemajele. Hello mama. Yeah. Uthi kwenzekalani sisi? Eh? You from what? Malawi. Aye, hambe Kunjani. There is a clinic down there called Kunjani. Down there you can go and pay. Buya Malawi. Bantu bethu angithi nazi bantwana basekhaya ukuthi sinabantu base South Africa baboshiwe eZimbabwe. Ene ugovernment waseZimbabwe akasibhayi isikelemo. Usho kahle ukuthi yena akasibhanana country. Then kusho ukuthi thina siyibhanana country. Fanele bahambe bazothatha imithi yethu, bathatha amaphilisi wethu, bathathe yonke into yethu, bahambe babuyele emakhaya. So mabaphume. Ntola niphumeni sis. Ubuya ekhaya? Akakwazi nokukhuluma. Ubuya ekhaya sis.
Mama si South African isicela ukuthi
Uphuma ishifayila ikuzo ishifayila lakho lephambili. Ena kusasa sizobuya. Ngale kwaloko sizowathatha lama file siwadabula. Sizowadabula lama file. Sikhathele yini? Baboshiwe abantu bethu eZimbabwe kuthini kithi? Basejele as we know now. Abalana bayathathwa bamukise lindela bathola ukudla 3 times a day.
Morning, commanders, morning. Yeah, Kyon and Tweets are Halamut Extension 7. We are trying to fight them, to stop them. My body Sababakens. EFF, members of EFF, they are here. They are the one who called the police. Members of EFF, they are the one who called the police. We're trying to stop the foreigners, but then they are busy. They are busy. So we'll fight. We'll do everything. We'll do everything. Give our another commanders. So probably meeting in Lobona. Then the corner of honor of Halang Commander Sakir. Morning, commanders. Morning.
I know that it's unlawful for us to be asking for documents. We don't have the right to do it, but because you as a law enforcer, you are there to just monitor the situation. Why don't you just do it? Because that's also part of your job.
But you are admitting that it is unlawful.
Yes, it is unlawful because we are not officials. We are not immigration officers.
For many months, I've been saying that Zandile and Dudula are breaking the law. They're breaking the South African Constitution and breaking international human rights law by denying people healthcare and asking people for their documents. And here she is, admitting on her own that she knows that it is a crime. She knows that it is against the Constitution to go and ask people for their papers. She also knows that she's committing a crime against humanity by denying people healthcare. She's admitting to a premeditated crime. So why hasn't she been arrested? She hasn't been arrested because she's undertaking a crime for Zionists that want to take over South Africa. But she's not the only one who's been paid. Gayton McKenzie has been paid. People within the police force have been paid. That's why she's not being arrested. People in the police force who brag about working with private security companies that have already been said are working to overthrow the government of South Africa from the Western Cape have been paid. And have you wondered why MK and EFF are saying nothing about Cape independence? Many people have been paid. Many people are in the agenda. That is why so many white people are coming into Western Cape illegally and getting legal documents illegally and corruptly in the Western Cape. They're also being allowed to bring in weapons and arms because the takeover of South Africa has already been paid for, and many South Africans are in.
Sanibulisa wabukele emakhaya njengoba sikhona eGeneral Hospital sinosisi lo victim yethu lo ojikiswe ngaphakathi sekumele athole uncedo uzomchazela igama lakhe achaze nokuthi kwenzakaleni njengoba bamjikisa esibhedlela ngelanga elingaka EMK lo mphakathi uzile uzocomplaina ngaso sona lesimo lesi asazithola akusise manje sawubona sisi kunjani sisi
Ngiyaphila sinjani
siyaphila ubani igama lakho
Izilda Armand Bok ngibuya eMaputo
Alright. Kwenzakaleni ngawo namhlanje? Bayula.
Lana kwenzekele sisi niyenze operation ngis-15 August.
Yes.
Mani yenze operation ni ikliniki banikhipha ititambu tethuku sala letinye bathi letinye nibuyela lana i-general nibuyanikhipha khona because abakhona ukukhipha letambu. Manje i-general banibuyisela emuva bathi mina nishangana ngeke bakhona kunceda kungcono nibuyela emuva bayanivalela le phepha nikhona kubuya la ekliniki kodwa mina lesikhathi ngiyafa nicela nisize.
Yeah, bathi abakuncedi ngoba lishangana. Asabobani usamanesi.
Yeah, kodwa lesikhathi nithathile lo mntwana batalile 1.5.
Batala 1.5 phela.
Yes.
Manje ngoba unayo leyo mali leyo ukubhatala futhi bathi ubuyele ekhaya ngoba ushangana ngeke bakuncede.
Yeah.
Uyalazi ngisitshele kanjalo amagama lo ungakhasi swami yes. Ungakhasi simoya. Lo muntu okutshela kanjalo mangamboni ungamkhomba.
Ngiyambona vela nimkhomba ukuthi nayo intshili ukuthi nibuyela emuva nithatha le phepha lase ikliniki kodwa mina niyenze operation la ikliniki bathi nibuyele kuphi la niyenze khona operation because abakhona ukukhipha leti tambu isephakathi kakhulu and siyanlimaza since August 15 siyanlimaza chef.
No asikhulumeni naye manje bathi bazokulandela i-wheelchair silwile siyalwa sisi bazokunceda.
Yeah, chef ngiyabona lesikhathi nibadalile 1.5 manje bathi banikhipha abafuni banijikisa.
No ungasakhazi so amna i-wheelchair ifike izoncedeka manje yezudlulela khona ngaphakathi so hamba namakhamera siyobona ukuthi vele uyancedeka na. Ngiyayibona ungakhohlwa futhi nale face lo muntu onokutshela ukuthi uyishangana ngeke azakuncede wena yes. Okay siyabona i-wheelchair samgibela bazokunceda ne.
Okay
hamba nayo sisi ubani umphathe esibhedlela. Oh Mohale Mpho. No siyabonga sicela nimncede.
No, now we'll assist you, don't worry.
Asibulungise nalo uthazo mama nasizoba bazombiza ngeshangana benzeni kuvele wrong nako lokho ukuthi bazombiza bathi uyishangana ngaba am-assist yabona ama-actions mina athathiwe ngalento leyo ne. Sicabanga ukuthi especially disciplinary hearing mele bekhona la. No you cannot call umuntu ukuthi uyishangana ngeke am-assist. No siyabonga. No siyabonga. Akunjalo kanti mzansi ya into esizakalako right.
When you talk about Africa, are you in Africa?
Immigration,
Call them. I'll call my lawyer also, they'll come here. I will also call my lawyer that came here. How? Call immigration. Call everyone. How? You destroy the country. Can't you tell the country is going down because of this shit that you guys are doing? How? How?
Basiphethe kabi mama bazongisho every police elingena laphayana bahlekisa ngathi sibulela umuntu yazi ngathi sibulela umuntu singazange salwa namuntu singazange sashaya umuntu abazange basifundele ngisho nama rights baceda abafuna abafoni ethu bathi bafuna iyowaseja. Thursday singene evenini yabo mina basilanda ngibasathanda ngo5 o'clock singahlanga singahlangani
And these people also have the same human rights that we have. They are also human beings like we are. And these attacks must stop with immediate effect. We must act decisively to end such violence and work to ensure that it does not happen again in this country.
Commanders morning.
Commanders morning. Chovera evening. Chovera. How are you there? Yeah, Commanders morning. Yeah. Yeah, morning, Commanders. When I tell you, you're a freedom fighter now. Yeah. Some more panty, you'll come back, you'll be a president. Hey, Commanders morning.
And we lead with this. It's the second and final day of the first national convention at UNISA in Pretoria. The two-day gathering has faced criticism over costs and opposition withdrawals, aims to set the agenda and lay the groundwork for a year-long citizen-driven process. SABC News reporter Natasha Piri is at UNISA and brings us more. Natasha, you have political parties with you there at the moment. You've got Action SA, you've got Ghanif Hendricks of Al Jamaa, and you also have Operation Dudula, not a political party, more of a civic organization, also getting reaction from them while plenary has come to a pause for the moment. What do they have to say?
Well, Oliver, let's just hear it from their mouths. Like you've correctly cited, we're joined by various political parties and, of course, Zandile Davula from Operation Dudula. Zandile, thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. So earlier on, we were talking to one of the moderators, right, Umazibu Gojaha, and he was basically saying on the issue of migration. It was also a contentious one, but he also raised a valid point to say, you know what, I asked him, should foreign nationals take part in this dialogue? He had said, listen, if certain issues are issues of contention, they should also take part so that they can form part of the solution. And I can see your eyebrows raised there. As Operation Dudula, what inputs did you make, and do you support this notion?
So firstly, there was, a motive behind this whole thing. We were excluded from participating. We did not even get an invitation. Now, when I looked at the agenda and I looked at the themes, that the most burning issue in this country, which is immigration, is not even listed on there. And then it made sense to me. You can't have foreigners wanting to participate in the issues that are affecting us as South Africans. They have their own countries. They need to go and participate in their own countries. I mean, this is a national dialogue. It's not a continent dialogue or a globe dialogue. It's a South African national dialogue. I mean, I'm very disappointed with everything that's happening here. I foresee chaos. The processes are just, chaotic. We're going to be selecting a steering committee. Who are these people? Where are they coming from? Who are they representing? If you are leaving out, for example, the people like Operation Dudula, other civic organizations that are patriotic, you're leaving them behind. Who is going to talk on the issues of immigration on behalf of South Africans? It's total chaos, and I just see this thing collapsing before it even gets to the ward base. I mean, they're talking about steering committees. Are we now having parallel structures here? Are we going to have a structure that's going to run through the national dialogue and have another structure running through as a government structure? Are they both going to be paid? Because at the end of the day, something needs to happen. I mean, we want answers. We want the best South Africa for our own citizens. So who's going to get it right here?
So just for clarity, Zandile, because what I got from Mr. Chaha was that the migration will form part of those documents that will be going out to the wards. Have you been consulted on this issue? Did you yourself raise it in plenary today?
You know, there's a lady that that mentioned it. Well, I was not given that opportunity to raise my views, but somebody spoke about it. But you can tell that there is just no will. She stood up, spoke about it, and it was it. And I'm now shocked that it will be part. Why was it not included in the themes? Because it's a burning issue. Everyone is talking about it. I mean, the crisis in the healthcare departments, the schools, you know, those are the operations that we'll be doing next year. Why are they not saying anything about it? How do we correct, you know, the porous border that we have? Why are we not closing? Where's the budget? You know, a BMA asked for just 2 billion to make sure that they secure our borders. Here we are spending 700 million. You just need 1.3 billion to get that 2 million. Why are they not using that money and make sure that our borders are secured? I mean, our government is just wasting our money, and it's not even fair for us.
Zandile, thank you so much for your time.